Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next presentation. We're going to hear about Volvo. This is going to be a interesting one. I haven't seen what's going on in Volvo recently, so hopefully we're going to get some good insight from John here. And let's see if he's got his screen share ready. How's it going, John?
Yeah, very fine, very fine. I'm trying to share.
All right. Just give it a second. So we have some technical difficulty there. John's going to be presenting in just a second. So let's just see if he can get that up and going. All right, you got it?
Yes, I do.
Now you have to put it into presentation mode. Is it in presentation mode now? Oh, now
All right,
it is.
it's in the
Can
presentation
you press
mode now.
that button that says hide down at the bottom?
Okay.
Good. All right. Well, we're going to start in just a second. I'm going to shift things around here and I'm going to exit in just a minute. But before I do that, just go down one page and come back up. Okay. That's working. So are you ready to rock?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm going to leave now. So as soon as I leave, then you just start. I'm leaving now.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Welcome everybody to my presentation. I'll be presenting the valuation of Volvo, titled "A Diamond in the Rough," only for the stoic. I initiate coverage on Volvo with a buy recommendation based on the target price of 286, based on the target price of 389 Swedish krona, which implies an upside of 36%. I derive my target price from a DCF-based valuation using a WACC of 8.7% and a terminal growth rate of 1%. The highlights: market share to grow in coming years due to investments and strategy decisions. Truck market slowdown and market normalization, hurting Volvo's margins in the current. Hybrid is the future, and Volvo is positioned to take market lead and grow revenue. The risks: a lingering shortage of EV charging infrastructure, rising inflation globally, discouraging demand, and a lot more. The company background: AB Volvo is a Swedish multinational company founded in 1927. The company produces vehicles and offers its customers and dealers financial services. It produces in 18 countries and sells in almost 190 countries globally. Europe is its major market, accounting for 43% of its revenue. Trucks and construction equipment are its major products, accounting for 67% and 90% of net sales. Volvo is a major industry leader for heavy-duty trucks globally, with an 11% market share. The stories behind Volvo: expansions and diversifications to offset market slump. Market share to grow in coming years due to investments and strategy decisions. Volvo established a joint venture with Daimler Trucks to develop fuel cell systems for heavy-duty trucks. And Volvo also partners with Daimler Trucks, the major industry leader, and another major industry leader, Traton Group, to develop an EV charging network across Europe. Volvo is also building the largest truck factory globally in Mexico with $700 million, which is expected to begin operation in 2026. It's expected to grow market share significantly by 4% from current 11% to about 15%. The choice of Mexico and Monterrey is because of the strategic nature or location of Monterrey in Mexico, close to US border, which provides Volvo with significant logistical advantage for distributing trucks to the southwestern and western regions of the United States and the entire Latin America and North America, respectively. Truck market slowdown and market normalization, hurting Volvo's margins in the current. Global inflation hit 6% in 2024, a global all-time high since 1996. This rising inflation is discouraging consumers from taking car loans to purchase Volvo products. Also, Volvo met a majority of the accumulated hiked COVID-19 demands in 2023. Hence, sales is expected to get back to pre-COVID normal between 2024 and 2025. So I expect Volvo's revenue to fall by about 5% within 2024 and 2025 as market continues to recover and inflation rages on. Hybrid is the future, and Volvo is positioned to take market lead and grow revenue. Volvo has rolled back its ambitious 2030 plan of producing fully 100% electric vehicles by 2030 into producing 90% of its products as EVs and hybrid vehicles. The EV market is slowing, while the hybrid market is gaining significant growth at the same period. Volvo has revamped its XC90 hybrid sports utility vehicle in 2024 and is expected to roll out more hybrid vehicles in the coming years. By being an early pioneer in the hybrid market, which is poised to be the future of trucks, I expect Volvo to grow significant market share to up to 20% and drive significant revenue in the process. Industry analysis. The heavy-duty trucks industry is expected to grow at a 7% CAGR between 2024 and 2030. This growth is driven by better logistics, infrastructure, and global commerce. Volvo is the second major player in the market, behind Daimler Trucks, with global market share of 11%. The heavy trucks industry is shifting from the traditional combustion engine to electric and fuel cell trucks for eco-friendly trucking solutions. This industry is indeed set for significant growth. Global trade drives industry growth. Industry growth, according to Statista and Fact.mr, is driven by rising industrial activities globally, increasing the demand for trucks in sectors like agriculture, mining, construction, and logistics. Though there is a steady rise in the demand for electric and self-driving trucks, they still hold a small share of the market, 3% in China, 2% in the EU, and 0.2% in the USA, according to the International Energy Association, IEA. Government policies challenging the industry. Stricter emissions regulations for environmental sustainability are pushing back truck manufacturers to develop eco-friendly trucks, leading to high R&D costs for electric and autonomous trucks. So to achieve significant growth, the trucking industry must navigate challenges like technological transition, regulatory pressure, and high insurance costs. The quarterly analysis. Revenue fell by 12%. Quarterly analysis, divestment draws down EBIT margin year on year. Revenue fell by 12% year on year due to market normalization after COVID-19. The net margin fell by over 2% and operating margin fell by 3% as a result of the company's divestment of Acus to John Cockerell Defense, and also the increased spending on R&D towards EV and hybrid rollouts. Latest news. Volvo is building the largest heavy-duty trucks manufacturing plant globally at approximately 1.7 million square feet in Mexico, expected to start operation in 2026. Consensus estimates. Over 60% of analysts issue a buy recommendation on Volvo stock, while 40% are neutral. The consensus analysis expects net margin to remain stable from 2024 through 2026. The EBIT margin is expected to stabilize between 2024 and 2025, but continue to rise in 2026. The revenue breakdown. Vehicles manufacture rule, while services is subject. Revenues, Volvo's revenue come majorly from its vehicles and services offerings. Vehicles contribute 77% of Volvo's revenue, while services contribute just 23%. Trucks account for 67%, which is the most of its products of total company revenue, while construction equipment account for 19% of revenue, while others account for 14% of revenue. Europe is Volvo's largest market, contributing about 43%, which is almost half of the company's revenue. North America is a major important market, contributing 30% of revenue. Asia is a major market, contributing 12% of company revenue, while South America and Africa and Oceania are the least important Volvo markets to Volvo in terms of revenue, contributing 9% and 6% respectively. FVMR investing. Overall, Volvo looks relatively attractive compared to the other 170 companies in the heavy industrial sector globally, according to its fundamentals, valuation, momentum, and risk details. Fundamentally, Volvo is ranked in the top 40% globally, which is a fair ranking. In terms of valuation, Volvo is relatively attractive, being ranked in the top 40% globally in the industry. In terms of momentum, Volvo is neutral, as both price and earnings momentums have remained relatively on the margins over the years in the past 12 months. Risk. Volvo is a low balance sheet risk company. World-class benchmarking. Profitable growth is best in 2023 for Volvo, making the company relatively attractive and above average in the past 12 months, being ranked in the top 30% of the 170 companies in the heavy industrials globally. In profitability, Volvo is ranked in the top 20% in the industry. And growth, Volvo is ranked in the top 40% globally. And in asset efficiency, Volvo is ranked between the top 20% and the top 40% in the industry globally over the years. Revenue growth recovered over the years from worst ranking of the top 70% in the past 12 months, and growth is driven by strong expense direction. Profit and loss statement. Revenue, gross profit, EBIT, and net profit are expected to slow down between 2024 and 2025 as a result of the high inflation and the market recovery from COVID-19. And they're expected to recover from 2026 going forward. Balance sheet assets. Total current assets is expected to slow down in 2025 as a result of the fall in accounts receivable, while total assets is expected to continuously grow from 2024 onwards as a result of the rising net fixed assets as Volvo continues to invest in assets. Balance sheet, liabilities and equity. Total current liabilities is expected to slow down between 2024 and 2025, while total equity is expected to progress over the years from 2024 to 2028. Balance sheet, cash flow statements. The ending cash for Volvo is expected to fall in 2027 as a result of a decline in net cash due to its long-term investments. The free cash flow data. Free cash flow is expected to grow in the third period, as this implies that Volvo is not yet in its maturity stage yet. Relative valuation. According to the PB to ROE multiple, Volvo stock is relatively cheap in the Sweden market, but costly in the global market and Asia and ex-Japan markets. So Volvo is relatively cheap at home, locally, and expensive globally and in Asia and excluding Japan. The relative valuation using PE to EPS. Using PE, the PE multiple, Volvo stock is relatively cheap in Sweden, but costly in the rest of the world and Asia, ex-Japan. But using the PE to EPS ratio is not attainable in this case, since the 2025 PE to growth ratio is not meaningful, as Volvo has a negative value in 2025. It's expected to have a negative value in 2025. So we cannot use the PE to growth ratio, EPS growth ratio. Valuation and target price. In my best case scenario, I anticipate a gross margin of 26% for Volvo, leading to a market value of 389 Swedish krona per share based on the FCFF methodology. This represents a 30% upside compared to the current market price. I used a WACC of 8.7% in my analysis. And in my sensitivity analysis, the optimistic case assumes a gross margin of 28%, resulting in the target price of 415 Swedish krona per share for Volvo, while the pessimistic case assumes a gross margin of 24%, yielding a value of 364 Swedish krona per share for Volvo. The risks. First, the risks: lingering shortage of charging infrastructure, slowing EV market growth. First, a lingering shortage of EV charging infrastructure. Due to the limited or shortage of limited rollout of charging infrastructure for electric vehicles, a lot of potential consumers are discouraged from purchasing electric vehicles, which Volvo is expecting to specialize in the coming years. So this is a market risk for Volvo. Transitional and technological requirements determine future business success. The Volvo group, AB Volvo, just like every other car manufacturing company, is based on technology. It's a company that operates on technology. And the company is currently transitioning from combustion engine to fuel cell and hybrid vehicles. So to stay relevant and stay relevant in the future and be relevant in its business in the future, Volvo needs to transition with the industry in terms of technology from combustion engine to fuel cell EV. And this is a risk for Volvo. So its ability to stay in business in the future is dependent on its ability to adapt to industrial changes and transition. Macroeconomic cyclical also determines demand for Volvo products. Macroeconomic issues like economic growth and inflation affects consumers' income and in turn affects consumer demand. So if the economy is slowing down, it has a way of affecting the demand for Volvo products as consumer demands continue to fall. So it's a market risk for Volvo. Rising inflation globally discouraging demand. The global inflation, which is 6% in 2024, which is a global all-time high since 1996, is discouraging investors from taking car loans, as loans are more expensive during inflationary periods. So this is affecting the capacity of potential customers or consumers to demand Volvo's products. Potential high tariffs from both the US and Europe on EVs from China. The United States and Europe are likely to protect their local markets from relatively cheaper EVs, electric vehicles, and hybrid vehicles from China by slamming huge tariffs on those vehicles from China. And the majority of Volvo's products are made in China. So there's a very big risk that if EU and US slams high tariffs on EVs and hybrids from China, it will affect Volvo's margins and affect its ability to compete in the heavy-duty trucks market. So thank you so much.
All right. So, yeah, you keep it in the presentation mode, and then let's go through some questions that you've got. First question that comes in from Momin. The stock was going up recently. What's the catalyst that would keep it going that high? What are any catalysts that you see as of right now?
Okay, what I see right now is the nature of Volvo's diversification. They are diversifying with the industry from combustion engine, traditional combustion engine, to EVs and hybrid vehicles, which is the future. So people see future in Volvo, and for the fact that they are making major investments to drive increase market share is also a major reason why people are seeing them as getting ready for the future. People are seeing them as prepared for the future. So this, I feel like the stock price of Volvo will continue to rise because they have huge potentials for the future.
Next question is the EV trend actually happening, or is government forced? How profitable are EVs for Volvo? From Zishan.
The global EV market has been slowing recently. There's been a transition towards hybrids. So I have doubts if EVs, I do not think that EVs are actually sustainable for Volvo, because recently they had a plan where they wanted to produce only EVs, full EVs by 2030, and they revised that plan recently because they did not see the feasibility of producing such. So I think EVs is not the future for Volvo. I think hybrid is, and I think it's not sustainable.
And let's look at Moment says, why do you think that Volvo could keep its competitive edge with hybrids? What about other competitors out there when it comes to hybrids?
All right. What I think is that Volvo is positioning itself to be a pioneer in this transition, and they are also partnering with major industry leaders. In fact, the number one industry leader, Daimler, has a joint venture. They established a joint venture with Volvo in 2024, a 50-50 joint venture where they hope to produce a fuel cell systems for hybrid vehicles. So I think that Volvo is actually positioning itself to be a major leader and partnering with the top brand, the top company in the industry, which is Daimler. Actually positions them to be ahead of competition from other, because they're the second industry leader with 11%.
Okay.
So I think that positions them there to maintain the advantage in the future.
Okay. And here's another one. Trump is imposing a tariff on Mexico, and they lifted it. He could impose it again. If Volvo starts its plant in Mexico, would there be a problem? Is there a backlash, or is there a problem with their profitability?
All right. Concerning the tax with Mexico, is totally a political issue, and from the news we have on ground, the political issue has been resolved. Mexico has agreed to Trump's demands to man their borders and prevent the inflow of illicit drugs into US. So as it stands now, I think the tariff may never come because it's conditional. It's based on a condition, and that condition has been met. So I think this may never come. The tariff may never come, and Volvo will continue to reap its high profitability in the future.
And is the plant operational, or they're just building it now, or what is the stage of
They are building it already.
Okay.
So they are expected to complete and start operation in 2026.
Okay. And another question, does the company have any opportunity to get more out of Asia? What's holding them back in Asia?
Yes, the company has a bigger opportunity to get more out of Asia because of the low cost of production in Asia. They are already producing in Asia, and I do not know of any plans yet, but I think they would maximize their production in Asia with time because since it's coming cheap, it helps them maximize their margins.
Okay. How does it feel to graduate from the Valuation Masterclass Bootcamp?
It feels great. It feels great. For me, most importantly, trying to gain more knowledge of finance, majorly, especially the balance sheet and the financial statements. On that side, I feel like I've gained a lot from the bootcamp, and also in terms of my networking.
Yep.
I think it's excellent, super excellent. I have I've been pushed to network more in recent weeks, and that actually paid out. That actually paid out, and I realized that what I needed all along was that push. So since that push has taken place, I feel motivated and I feel geared to go even better and bigger from here.
Well, you've got a great story to tell. So congratulations on your presentation and your report. And now it's time to really start to build, this competency and, really get out there and bring that value to the world. You've got a lot to bring. So make sure you're doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. For the fact that this is actually coming at no cost, financial cost, I think is great knowledge. A lot of things to take at no cost at the end of the day. So I am really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
You get a rare opportunity as an intern, very rare, and it's never going to be there again like this. So I'm glad that you took it. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'm going to end this and I'll see you in the Slack channel. All right. Hold on. Well, there's Volvo. What do you think? Buy, sell? It's interesting, how profitable Volvo is. I mean, it's impressive, such a heavy industry type of business, and they really have a strong level of profitability. So that's impressive. Anyways, what John did, going from zero and knowing nothing about writing research, professional research, he created that report in 6 weeks. Pretty impressive. Like all the students that graduate from the Valuation Masterclass Bootcamp. It's tough, but when you get to the end, you feel great. If you want to build a competitive advantage in company valuation, well, join me at valuationmasterclassbootcamp.com, and I'll see you in the bootcamp.